So I'm here with Ari Rossen,
Hi,
who's
guys.
an actor, writer, fantastic musician, and producer of film, and an all-around great human being. And
Yes, man.
we worked on a wonderful short film that's kind of like a it was kind of like a festival darling, I
Yeah,
would say,
it did really well.
called Sound Vision. It's
That's right.
funny because Ari and I met. We were both musical directors for a children's theater called Tada,
Yeah.
musical theater in New York City, and I was so excited because Ari asked me to do the score for Sound Vision. And what's interesting about the well, there's a lot of interesting things. Actually, this film I just watched it again this morning because we did it two or 3 years ago.
I mean, it's
At
like
least
2
2
years
years
ago. Yeah, it's a couple years ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's so and there's so much to it. The story is about, in part, musicians.
Yeah.
The relationship between, very simply put, a teacher and a student
Mhm.
of piano, and how do you score a film about a musician, and how does all that work? And fortunately, Ari is an amazing piano player, and you did a lot of piano performance.
Yeah, I
in
did.
the film.
Yeah, we were playing. So it's essentially about a young Muslim girl who is losing her hearing gradually, and she unexpectedly befriends a disillusioned pianist who's gay. And so these two people from completely opposite worlds.
Now,
end up-
he's Israeli, right?
He's Israeli.
Right. So there's another
layer.
of it in that there's like a Jewish Muslim.
Right, exactly.
It's sort of I don't think it's as much of an issue as it's not an issue between
Right.
them, which is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Is that it's not an issue between them.
Yeah, it's like and that's because of music as this, I feel like all musicians feel this way on some level. It's just like this completely universal language. and
Absolutely.
everybody, no matter where you're from or your experience, you respond to music. You just do. It's
Yeah.
part of the human experience. So
Absolutely.
it allows them to break through any preconceived notions, that strangers have of one another. And they actually bond over Beethoven's piano sonatas.
Yeah.
Which are some of the best piano music in the world. And it, it's such a touch point, and to be able to replay those again as a musician for the film was such a joy. And then to find you, to reconnect with you, because we had this really great dialogue about how do I help you create a score that matches the tone and feeds the film,
Right.
feeds and underscores the film, and just adds to the story.
Yeah, and I think the music in this particular film it had piano, but it was very ambient.
Yeah.
I remember we talked a lot about the Social Network score.
Right.
That was you
Yeah,
loved that score.
Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor's
amazing.
fantastic.
Amazing.
He's a great composer, really
Yeah.
unique thinker and great artist.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of a very different score.
Yeah, it was. I mean, part of why I loved it. It's very spare, but there's so much tension all the time. You''ve got that falling piano line.
Yeah.
We're getting real geeky here.
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
It's cool. We got this like falling piano line, but then you have the low strings, just
Right.
the ostinato kind of like it's shaking and it's quivering. So there's this excitement.
And ostinato is a repeated figure.
Yeah.
So it's film music mentor is an Italian lesson too.
Yeah. Dolce forte.
Dolce
like all the
forte,
sounds.
bravissimo. I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
sidetracked us about. So the music had this ambient, dreamy quality that had piano, and it was sort of like the subconscious of the characters.
Right.
I felt, or like the soul of the characters.
Yeah.
Where there's actually more of Ari playing the piano in the film than there is of the music that was written. I think there's only 2 or 3 music cues.
Yeah, I mean, and but they were so important and integral to binding the film, and really, what it is I think about this now even is the notes and the spaces between the notes. It's literally the characters reaching out, into the darkness and reaching for someone or something
and finding it, which is so
cool.
It's beautiful because they it's interesting because the film this young woman, she gets off a train and she's like in the middle of nowhere.
rewind back to writing the script, I found this cafe, and it's literally called Beethoven Cafe, and it was like, whoa, that's crazy. And it just felt, and I walked around the town and explored, and I was like, this is where this I have to shoot here. I mean, this is where this has to be shot. So so she gets off the train, she essentially misses her stop, and gets off, and is lost in this world that she's unfamiliar with, and finds her way into a music store, and then there she is.
And she's in this music store, and she starts playing a Beethoven sonata. Is she reading the sheet music that's on the piano?
Yeah, she's reading music on the piano, and the sonata is the Pastorale, which is not as well known. It's a D major sonata, and it has this falling line. It's very pretty. It's a little simpler in terms of like complexity than some of his later works, but it's really beautiful. And so that's the one she's playing.
But he's like, whoa, who's playing? He's in the back, and he's so he's kind of stirred by. First of all, there's a store that no one's been in for forever. And then there's this beautiful music coming, and it's just a beautiful connection. And the film takes its time, and there is a lot of space.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this was what was one of the many reasons I really loved working with you and our team on it, was because it's so hard. And again, back to indie film or any film, right? When you are literally limited by the short film genre, you know, you have a very short time to tell a story. And so it's so easy to try and fill all of the space with words and action just to tell the story. So I wanted to challenge myself and just work with my music brain and speak the music language. I was really curious about, okay, like what is unsaid? So much is unsaid. And where are the spaces between the notes and the rests? And so I just felt like we had this great dialogue, and along with my amazing director, Jeremiah Kipp.
Jeremiah Kipp is an incredible director. Lot of credits. He's done a lot. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time.